Hey, that's us finally. Okay. Normal technical difficulties as we do each month, but we are finally live and only a couple minutes late.
Still setting up.
It's still setting up.
No, because according to Zoom, we're already being live streamed and I can already see us. So there you go. Anyway, welcome to everyone out there. Thanks so much for joining once again. Today, we are back on the monthly panel show where we take you out of your normal context and drop you into a completely new context where you can both watch fun people talk shite and also learn something new, where you can chat shite to the people that you don't normally see anywhere else. And then once you come back into your own normal context, you're like, what is life even? And this week, we will be speaking about conferences. So I hope that rings any bells for you, that feeling. But first of all, who the hell are we even? Hanna, you start.
Yeah, my name is Hanna Schlander and I work as a quality catalyst at Devo Team Creative Tech, but currently on maternity leave.
The best job of them all. Sanna.
Yeah.
Hi, my name is Sanna Visser. I work as a consultant for a very large corporate company, Capgemini, and I am currently working as an agile test manager, whatever the hell that is.
All right, Shey.
Hey guys, Shey. I'm a senior quality engineering manager at EasyJet. Yay!
Yeah, definitely. Eh? And I'm Veerle Hanna and I work as a Scrum Master at Dutch Railways.
Yeah,
so
what
today
are you
we're
even
talking
doing here.
Oh my God, who even knows? I guess just gate crashing as is my specialty. So today we're talking about conferences. Why in particular? Who would like to answer this very obvious question?
Oh, why do we like conferences? We met.
Not why do we like them? Why are we talking about a conference?
Why are we doing it?
Why are we talking about conferences today?
Come on, did you not read the memo?
I wrote the memo.
Oh, there we go.
That's the problem.
Right. If nobody's going to answer the question, then I'll do it. Because in 1 month from now, we will be on Agile Testing Days as a panel, and it's going to be so exciting.
Yes.
That's
Cannot wait.
I remember now.
That one. That memo.
Oh, was it? Yeah, that's the memo. That's why this week, or this month rather, we are talking about conferences, all the things we love about them, hate about them, love to hate about them. We will be talking about diversity on the programs. We'll be talking about the things we love to see, the things we've seen way too many times, and basically anything else. So first of all, let's do a little bit of impromptu story time. What was your favorite moment ever at a conference?
Oh, actually, I think this one is a recurring theme at a lot of events that I go to. It's the moment where you've had the conference drinks, you've gone out into whatever beautiful city they selected to do the event at. And then after that, you're still sitting in some hotel lobby at 2 a.m. discussing some finer nitty-gritty points about testing at 2 a.m.
Right.
And I love enjoying the shit out of that conversation.
I love it how those are apparently the conversations you're having, because by that time I am only talking bollocks. Like I am no longer talking testing at that point. I remember at Eurostar in Prague, which was my first international conference, which is actually where I met Hanna and Chris. And I was there together with Sanna. We were sharing an Airbnb or something. It was fun as shit. And we were sat in a pub at 2 a.m. and I couldn't remember all the lyrics to Bruce's philosophy song, the Monty Python song. And we went on to the conference app and started a new chat. That went, all right, we can't remember the lyrics. Somebody finish this and just type the first line of the song. And everybody else started like completing it. And it was brilliant.
Oh, that's great fun.
Yeah.
Oh, man, I think well, for me, it was, for me, I think it was probably the first sort of international conference I went to, which was Nordic Testing Days. And it was one of those things of like, I was super nervous at running a workshop with Nikki Sedgwick, and it was at one stage about halfway through this full day workshop that I looked around and it's like, wow, people are actually sort of like getting stuff from this. My imposter syndrome had been running wild, and people are sort of like asking relevant questions and asking for more information. You're going, holy crap, man!
The
what I'm
relevant
saying,
questions
people
are great.
Yeah, and that's really cool. I was like, oh yeah, that's super cool.
Has been Hannah.
I think one of my favorite moments for sure was a pub quiz in Prague, which I was in the team with.
Not a sidekick.
Two lovely ladies here. That we had such a great time. It was a bit controversial, that quiz, to be fair, but we had a blast, and it was awesome.
Yeah,
so
it's true.
the question, I think, was about sidekicks, and it talked about Mulder and Scully.
The question was,
Oh.
what is Mulder's sidekick on the X-Files called?
That's it.
And I fucking threw a tantrum right there.
Yep.
Yeah,
Not a sidekick.
Yeah.
And the quiz master was very sexist as well. So
yeah, he was an asshole.
Yeah, and we had two
again was a conversation on the app, the conference app, where we set up Not a Sidekick. And I think, didn't you do a lightning talk on it?
I actually got a lightning talk on it. That was so much fun.
Yeah, it was awesome because it led to something good, although of course not okay. So
no, but I think this is one of the cool things. I think this is one of the things that we all love about conferences, how you go there with a certain goal, you go there for a certain theme, right? A certain topic, but generally just the sort of coincidences of people being there, people talking about certain things, they just create so much more than just what you go to get out of it. So like, yeah, sure, you see the talks, you do the workshops, and you learn things that are like relevant to your job, but so much more than that happens.
And new friendships made, and such interesting conversations, and people. One of our regulars, for example, Soren, who didn't know we existed, but now as a regular, he's not on today. He said he probably won't make it, but it's one of those things. And now, like, he and I have a conversation every other week on LinkedIn, some sort of chat about stuff. My God, I didn't know that guy existed until a couple of months ago.
That's true.
But there's that thing, right? There's like the sort of the conference crew that you amass when you go to a few. Like you run into some people again and again. You kind of get these new friendships. You meet these people that you wouldn't normally meet if you couldn't go to these conferences, international or not. Which is awesome.
So maybe let's just briefly address some of the inherent shittiness about that, because honestly, it is such a privileged thing. It means both that your employer has time, budget, and is willing to send you to these things to improve you. That is such a luxury position, like for a lot of us. So I do want to shout out the free events that are in our space as well, because there's a lot of these online conferences that do not charge and that have these very open spaces. So just, we know we're coming from a very privileged position here that we're able to attend these events.
Yes, this is also true.
Let's not lose that. Foxconf is a great one. Thanks, Christian, for getting to promote my own event.
I was about to say, like, I thought you launched into this for a very specific reason.
I was thinking about the online test conference from Practitest, actually, since we're mentioning names really anyway.
Good. Yeah.
It's coming up pretty soon, and it's also really free. And that programming is honestly so diverse that like hats off to them, because they do like a 24-hour thing across the globe, which lets everyone kind of participate in their own time zone. Like, hats off to you for that. And it's free.
That's crazy cool. So much work. Lee's asked a really, really cool question here about sort of, do you find it too easy to fall into existing friendships and not meet any new people at conferences? That is such an interesting one. And, I remember Test Bash actually got really slammed for that, for being a cliquey conference. And, so some people made a an observation or a criticism that they weren't ever going to go to Test Bash again because all they saw out in the auditorium during breaks and everything was groups of cliques, and that was it. You know, nobody wanting to talk to other people. And that hit the conference hard. It was a year, my first year of volunteering, I think. And what we did, and I think I think Deborah was there as well, and it was like we were like, holy crap, yeah, okay, let's Pac-Man, let's really sort of start moving people around the room. Let's try and
we've mentioned Pac-Manning before, but I think it would be very cliquey of us to not explain it. Just in case people don't know about it. What is Pac-Manning?
So if you think of everybody standing around in a circle and talking, and that's a closed circle, Pac-Man is opening the mouth to make a little opening for somebody to come in and speak with you. And it's really important to do that. And also a little bit, if you're one of the people in a conference that you look around a bit and see who's walking past, is call people in. Hey, this is interesting. You might enjoy that. So there's that. But you know what? It's really also hard for you as a singleton, perhaps at a conference, to get that courage up to jump into the mouth of Pac-Man. So it takes a bit of courage there.
Yeah, it takes a certain type of person to jump into like a big group. It's easier to talk to one person, and I think as they're mentioning in the chat as well with the volunteers, and that's normally good people to start talking to because they're there to make you comfortable. And that's who I started talking to when I went to my first conference, was actually Chris volunteering.
Volunteers are so important to these things, and they're great people to chat to, because I think if you're there as a speaker, there's so much importance to managing your energy levels, actually as a delegate as well. I mean, there are often mad rushes where you are up really late and maybe imbibing in some fluids, and there is the aspect of, getting enough rest and not always being ready to chat to people. One of the things that I've loved at a lot of events these days, that they have some more kind of spaces to sort of calm down, quiet spaces, rooms to sit in for a bit. But other than that, I think familiar people do that as well. For a lot of the speakers, especially. I know I do. Like when I'm particularly nervous ahead of time, I get rather bitchy. And when I'm particularly tired afterwards, I kind of need that cocoon of the people I know and love to sort of catch those moments a bit. So there's both. We want to be available, but there's also the comfort of friends that is highly necessary.
Yeah. I always have a bit mixed feelings about the about people saying it's very cliquey, because I imagine like it's probably true, and I don't really realize it as much, maybe because I'm in one of the cliques. At the same time, every time I go to a conference, I'm like, I've met at least 20 new people. I went to it was funny as shit. I went to
story time.
So, shit. I guess so. I went to Agile on the Beach this year. This was my second time, and we got off the train, and I traveled together with a bunch of people, and then we got off the train and we got into the little bus that took us to the campus, and I just sat in a random spot, and like the bus was filling up, and a person sat next to me, and I was like, "Hello, what's your name?" And his name was Nathan, and like I sort of like ran into him throughout the conference, and every time it's just like, all right, Nathan, what's going on? What's the story? Because I don't know, by the grace of sitting next to me on the bus, I was like, you are now my new best friend. So I met him, and then I met a bunch of his colleagues as well. And it just kind of like, for me, it's always like an oil stain. Like you just meet this one new person, and then you get into chats with other new people. And there's a bunch of them that I'd never met before this year, but that I keep in touch with anyway. So I'm always like, it might very well be true. But at the same time, I also feel like meeting new people at conferences is also within your own control. And it can be very scary, especially if you're not an extrovert or if you're not super outgoing. But I always do think it's definitely possible.
Yeah, and again, social events like Hanna, didn't you do like the early morning runs and stuff like that? You did so many social things. I think when I met you at Eurostar, you were like the winner of the social app organizing.
I was very into the app that year. That's actually, well, I sort of knew Veerle before even attending the conference because I had seen her in that, which was a bit funny. But yeah, I attended a lot of different events. We did go for another morning, not run, we walked, to be fair. And a lot of different other things as well throughout the week. And it was a great way to get to know people.
Mhm.
I also got to know people a lot through, I attended Rob Lambert's workshop, which
Yeah.
with the communication workshop, and I know he said something about it's good to mention people's names when you talk to them, and I said, I raised my hand and said, as long as you don't do it too often in the conversation, because I find it so creepy when people say your name over and over again.
Hi,
and
Hannah. Nice to
is that
meet you,
so,
Hannah.
Oh,
and
Thanks
that's
for sharing,
exactly-
Hannah.
That's exactly what Rob did throughout the rest of the workshop. So I had people saying like, hello, Hannah, wherever I walked throughout the conference. And this was on the first day. It was quite funny. It felt a bit like the TV series Cheers, where everybody knows your name. And I'm like, I feel bad because I don't know your name.
I actually have a story time about that, and I'm sorry, Rob, I'm going to throw you under the bus here because this is an interesting example because he is very focused on learning your name, and he really tries. So at Eurostar, he was my track chair this year, and I swear he came 3 times. Like, how do I pronounce your name? And every time it was like Sanne, and just like, I don't mind if you say Sanna or Sanne, it's fine. And he still called me Sanne.
Sunny.
he even asked me as well.
I know, and it was so well intentioned, but it was like at that point it would have been better if it was just his pronunciation at that point. It's like, so I met him now again in Bucharest. Same thing. It's like I introduced myself and mentioned the name again. And it's like, I don't really care. I'm not fussed about all the different pronunciations, but it is, I think, especially at events like that, having people learn your name is a really good clue, or having, I think more accurately, a running joke like that with someone like, hey, I met you on the bus, or hey, you're the one who kept saying my name in the workshops. That is something that does build a relationship.
It does.
Yes.
And I think, just circling around a little bit to what you said about the volunteers. So one of the things I think the volunteers or the organizers need to sort of instill in the volunteers is, if there's someone on their own, go and speak with them. Go and say hello. You don't necessarily need to drag them into a conversation, but see if they're okay, number one, because it's a daunting thing. But also just say, can I introduce you to somebody, or find out something about them? And then you should know as a volunteer, probably someone within the conference who has come for that reason, come from that sort of company, come for that talk, or you can even introduce them to the speaker or something like that. Ask their permission, but do try and do that. So, a lot of people are privileged to be a volunteer, but it's work. You've got to help out, and and you will enhance people, and you'll make them grow throughout the conference and beyond. So, go out there and help out. Right?
All right. Here, you triggered me by saying volunteering is work. How about going to conferences? Is it work?
Oh, you just touched a pet peeve. Like when you come back and everyone asks how your vacation was. Oh.
And how my colleagues keep telling me that I go on holiday so often.
It's more like you need a holiday after a bit of the conference.
Tell us about that. Why is it work?
Because you learn, because you're there for learning and development. It's like Shey mentioned in his first, like, remembering that workshop. You're there, you're talking, or you're giving a workshop, or you're attending. But in any of those settings, you're absorbing things like a sponge. And it's not just the sessions, it's the conversations you're having. And at least for me, that part is intense. And I come back with notebooks full of stuff that I then have to process and digest slowly. So yeah, it's like everything that you do in learnings over 5 years or so, like condensed into these 2 intense days of just more and more and more and more and more.
Yeah,
that's why it's work.
It is work. I mean, it's work of a kind. At the same time, it's for companies to go, oh yeah, you're only allowed to go there if you come back and do a lunch and learn on what you learned at the conference. I have an objection to that as well, because it's like, hey, I'm the one who took the time to sort of secure my budget, possibly do a talk or figure it out, and then spend a boatload of energy getting myself ready, making sure I've handed over all my other stuff, so I can have these days of learning in peace and quiet from all you lot, to come back and then have to kind of regurgitate all of that. I'm not sure. I've seen companies that demand that of people who go to the conferences, and I must admit, I kind of disagree with it. Anybody else? Anybody think it's a good idea for companies?
I mean, if it's something specific that you want to share, that's fine. But to get the demand on it, it's not very nice.
Yeah. So
She agrees. Guest on the show today.
She agrees. That is hardcore.
I just want a little shout out to Hannah, absolutely multitasking like a boss today.
What a boss. What a legend.
It's well, life of being a mom, I guess.
Yeah.
We did the same thing at the vet. She cried the whole time.
Yeah.
I love how without missing a beat, everybody in the chat is like, Chris seems to be having a tough day today.
Oh man. Please can somebody screenshot the chat
The
so
chat
we can send to Chris.
for Chris. Yeah, we'll do that.
Poor guy, he's taken ill today, so it's a shame he can't be here, because he's such a he's been going to Eurostar for quite a few years now as a volunteer and stuff, hasn't he? And been a speaker a couple of times at least, certainly once that I know of, because I was there in the flesh with him. But he's definitely somebody who's well versed in conferences.
So shall we pick up his favorite topic then, as sort of like a nod to his absence?
Go for it. Do it.
Yeah.
Chris's favorite thing, I think, about conferences is picking up socks as swag.
Yeah, swag, baby.
True, yeah.
I mean, not only is he well known for his t-shirts, but he's actually also really on the lookout and hunt for any sock swag at any time. Like
sock
candy too, but sock swag is the best swag.
Can I have a tiny little story time about sock swag?
Yeah.
Okay, so couple of years ago, I went to Agile Testing Days in Potsdam, and Agile Testing Days is a little bit extra in the sense that they'll have like a fancy dinner, and then there's like the fancy dress party, and then some year people decided like, oh, we're gonna do a ball gown breakfast. So I had to think of a lot of things to bring. I had like my workshop that needed stuff. I needed to bring the appropriate clothes and stuff. So I don't know. I thought I did a really good job at packing pretty much everything I needed, pretty much everything that was fundamental, but didn't bring any socks, like any at all. It was just an item of clothing that had briefly slipped my mind when I was packing. So I tweeted about it when Twitter was still a thing, and tweeted like, that moment when you go to Agile Testing Days and like you didn't bring any socks at all. And Ina from the organization just instantly tweeted back to me. She was like, honey, we got you. Send me a picture of all the sock swag they had that year. They had like 3 different types of Agile Testing Day socks. Wow. She was like, come down to the info desk, come meet me, I'll sort you out. And so she took me to the back, to some back room where they had like fucking boxes full of socks, and I got like first pick, and I was so excited. God. And I still have some of them because I got quite a lot that year, and some of them are like super sturdy and they're still good, and I've had them for like 2-3 years at this point. It's funny as shit.
There has come a lot of discussion about it though, right? Because about swag is because of the, we're all on the sustainable thing, which is absolutely excellent. But people still want to give you stuff that's branded, and I can't tell you how many favorite fucking pens.
Yeah. What's your old favorite swags? Swag types of swag.
Chris, the best swag.
Socks.
Favorite swag has got to be either a decent pen or a decent notebook. Favorite swag. for the cybersecurity conference I went to, there was a little Game Boy Color clone that has over like 1,000 games on it, including all the Mario games, all the Nintendo games, Donkey
That's
Kong
really
games.
fancy swag.
And
Yeah.
it is like, oh my gosh. And brought that home. My kids are like, dude, you're the freaking legend. I was like, yeah, get in.
Nice. How about you, Hannah? What's your favorite type of swag to get at the conference?
I think I agree with pens. I mean, I always tend to lose pens as well. So it's always good to have a few extra. I really liked, I think it was Inflectra that had the James Bond pen that had like a screwdriver on the on one
Yes.
side and loads
I
of
think I
different-
still have that
yeah.
somewhere.
I
Oh,
do
mate.
as well. It was just such a good, well, it was a good pen, and just the way that Adam introduced it as well, because he's really,
Because he
awesome.
gets so into it, doesn't he?
Yeah,
But it's got to be good pens.
Shout out
Shitty
to
pens.
what's his name? Adam Sandman, is it?
yeah.
Inflectra's Adam Sandman. He is always there with the Inflectra swag. Every time I see him, like, I know you, because you give out the good shit.
Yeah, he also did the lightning talk with me and Veerle when we went to Prague.
It's true. That's right.
Yeah,
Nice.
so for me, strangely, it's t-shirts. And that is
Really?
a weird one because there's a bit of a story time with that.
Oh, go
so
for it.
Ooh.
Whenever I go to these events, and usually it's on the last day, I'll go around and I'll see if anyone has any kind of medium t-shirts left, which quite honestly, like I do not fit a medium. So people always look at me funny. I guess on the last day, you know, when the vendors are packing up and they've got lots left over, like they're quite happy to hand
And
you
they're
over.
they're fucking desperate to get rid of it. That's what they are.
Because they don't want to carry it back on an airplane. So t-shirt sizing is quite a pain. Unfortunately, it is still usually like male t-shirt models. Most of the time, it's getting a lot better, by the way. But I always try and go for the M's because honestly, here's the thing. My husband has not bought a t-shirt in like 5 years since I've started conference speaking.
He just wears like
He
Like,
loves them. He
Those
loves
labs.
anything that's free.
terrestrial
And I-
t-shirts.
Always feel like I'm walking around with my super fan any given weekend or evening because he's walking around with like testing is my superpower right next to me as we know we're doing our grocery shopping, and it's such an adorable thing. Like he wears all
That's
the
adorable.
branded stuff, and it's just it's adorable. So yeah, I still
Really
go for
nice.
t-shirts, and other than that, I do like to avoid swag. I think getting a water bottle and a cup is really practical these days, just to avoid like the paper cup kind of thing and not having people without refillable containers, which when you do
but
travel
then you
is
need to
not
get
the
them on the
easiest.
first day though.
You need to get them right away. So
Yeah.
that's just a
Yeah.
practical thing. But then if you don't have to do that, like the last few events I've been to just all had porcelain available all the time, which does add
That's
to
what's
the
up, yeah.
catering, like sort of coordination, but it was pleasant. Not to have all the paper stuff. So I do like those.
Can I tell
and
you my favorite
yeah.
one?
Yeah,
Yes.
go.
I swear on my life that I am not affiliated to Sauce Labs, but the best swag in the world is the Sauce Labs hot sauce.
Oh yeah.
And
You will with
and they
that.
and they have it with them every time. And every time I go and ask, can I have some hot sauce? And then they're like, yes, you can. Are you interested in our product? And I'm like, no, I am not. I just want the sauce. Hand over the juice, baby. And I'm still pestering them for the one type. They had like, they always have like the different ones. They've got like Carolina Reaper sauce and ghost pepper sauce and habanero sauce, and they've got all the different ones, and it says like with the little flames how hot it is. And they once had the jalapeno one. Sorry, I'll butcher that. But okay, that one, and it was only one little flame, and it was green colored, and it was so mild. And everybody's like, oh, I don't need the mild one, I want the hot one. And I'm like, no, I want the mild one, because you can just put it on everything like ketchup, but like
Everything.
particularly
Everything.
tasty ketchup. Like fried eggs, put the green sauce.
Oh yeah.
I love that swag. I don't need any other swag. I just want that. And if everybody did that, if everybody had like, oh, we've got
Condiments. Everyone
condiments,
brings,
yeah,
everyone
just-
brings sauce.
label sauce, give me like, I don't know, like test rail branded Himalaya salt, give me like what other vendors are always
Now that
there?
we're
Reach
talking
new
about-
heights in testing with the Himalaya salt.
give me like brightest honey. Like give me
Yeah.
food, baby.
Just a quick note on food as swag. I think there's one big caveat to food as swag. Do not give me any liquids I can't take in my hand luggage.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Good point.
Please.
Good point.
The amount of bottles of wine I've had to give away at hotels or to taxi drivers and
What do you mean
bottles
give away? You just down them in the queue for security, no?
We don't all have your
yeah.
tactics, Veerle.
I thought that was standard. Veerle, you and I, these guys are missing out, man.
I've been using the wrong method. I need to learn.
No, okay.
I-
It's a very valid point.
After
can't
Eurostar, I put down
oh.
a deposit on a bottle of Geneva in the Geneva bar in Antwerp by giving them a bottle of wine from Eurostar.
No way.
Yes. If I give you these euros in this bottle, can I have the bottle of Geneva? It's like, yeah, mate, sure.
Sure, why not? Jeez. I can't believe how like the topic in this session that got us riled up the most is the swag. So I'm just gonna take us to like a more serious topic because I feel like otherwise we're seriously copping out of this topic. What do we like? We mentioned privilege before. We mentioned working for an employer that will send you to a conference, that will pay for you, that will give you the time to learn, and not everybody is that lucky. There's obviously also a conversation going on about speakers, about seeing the same speakers all the time, about seeing a very specific type of speakers, by which I mean white people, by which I mean men. How do we feel about that?
Oh, this is all gonna touch
Yeah.
nerve because we are all speakers and we are all white and
I know, which is why it is painful, but I feel we need to address it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm a nice plug again here. Call for papers for Expo QA is open. I'm chair this year. And so I'm part of the other side of that discussion. And I can tell you a lot, and most conferences put in a lot of effort to be as diverse as possible. But having now had the call for paper open for about 2 weeks with 1 week left to go, I would say we do have 80% males in so far. So they have been the most to respond. And honestly, that is part of the problem. It's not that they're not there. It's just that they really do, I'm seeing now, apply less, which is a shame. And I'm talking about diversity of all kinds, not just men and women, although that is the easiest one to see from applications. We need to still do so much better. And honestly, us holding space in that arena is probably hurtful. On the other hand, I don't think I'm going to stop for that reason, which is like me quitting doesn't solve that problem. On the other hand, as chair, I can have more influence on it and make selections that are less white male privileged.
I think the occurrence of entirely white male stuff is getting less. So, and I say stuff because I'm including sort of full panels of white cis males. I'm including sort of entire conferences where every single speaker is of that direction and everything like that. And I think I've seen so much more. And Sana, as you've just said, you try and damn hard to get it as get the conference as diverse as possible. And I bet you any amount of money that the big conferences are trying the same. Maybe some of the corporate tub thumps that are where the selection committee is white cis males and they actually haven't sort of thought beyond their little world yet. Fine, that's their problem, their ignorance. It's for us to kind of help them along their way and question it in a polite and respectful way. See one of our previous talks, but yeah, really just make sure that we're we understand that there is a lot of work going on in the background. So don't just walk in and go, oh look, 80% males. The selection committee, what a bunch of twats. They just haven't got a fucking clue about how to do this. It's like, yeah, understand they're working bloody hard.
I want to do a little shout out as well, because I said white males, which is like Sana said, like just the sort of the easy thing. the easy divide that you can see, like, oh, they're all men, they're all white. I want to do a little shout out to Tobias Geyer, who did his talk at Romania Testing Conference this year, looking absolutely fucking stunning, by the way, in a skirt and a really good pair of heels that suit him like nobody's business. Just to make a point of, by the way, you can look like this and still be professional. You can dress this way and still know what you're talking about. And I think that is also like a really important message of diversity. And so it's not like, well, if you're a white male, then you're going to be absolutely disqualified from speaking because you're not diverse. So I guess that shouldn't be the point. My framing was deliberately provocative, but also a little bit shit. I will admit it.
Well, that's sort of theme of the show, isn't it? Like we do our best, but we also know that, you know, we were selected from a meeting at a conference that mostly had people who look like us. And then we formed a group of people who mostly look like us. We've had this discussion numerous times. Mm-hmm. And I think one of the things that I love to see is more and more when there are what are justifiably now also in the chat being called the manels, that we see more and more men withdrawing from those and then just refusing to speak on them. I think it would be great to continue that movement. If you see a conference that doesn't have diversity, rules of conduct, if they don't have those, if they haven't bothered to commit publicly to diversity, if you don't see them really trying on stage to do that and to put in an effort to also add first-time speakers, diverse speakers, different background, because another really big bias in speaking is honestly testers from the Netherlands and the UK. If I have to speak from my Expo QA experience, which is mad because it's an event in Spain. It's like, where are the Spanish testers?
All over the place or what?
Yeah, there is a bias, I think, there that you do also have to be careful of. So there's so much more to diversity, as you said, and it is hard. But let's personally continue at least withdrawing from events where it is only white people, where it is clearly nothing's being done to promote any kind of diversity. And definitely when there's a lack of a code of conduct, like that, I will continue to fully support and just not attend. Like that is so important.
I think that's almost more important than in some respects of than sort of the diversity aspect, in the sense that people have to feel safe at a conference, and they're you know, we've been in the industry long enough to probably have seen some of the horror stories, and there's a couple that just spring to mind every time, and it's saddening that people have gone to conferences and not been allowed to feel safe, and that's affected how they want to go to conferences or not in the future. And so feeling safe and feeling you know, that is first do no harm, and then let's go diverse as much as possible. Probably rule 1 and rule 2 in that order.
Yeah, which by the way doesn't mean you shouldn't put things on stage that might provoke, like maybe Tobias of course had a really good talk, but there's other talks that have sparked controversy or discussion, and I think definitely we've been outraged in chats, like asking questions at the end of talks and stuff like that. Like, I'm not saying do not maybe rub against these barriers and cause some of this friction, because I do think that is how we get the polish. So instead of leaning out, lean into the discussion and have it, and even if that means occasionally clear the stage, let's also do that. I think that's fair.
Here, so another one, because we've all spoken at conferences. How about if you've never done that before and you would like to get into it? What tips can we give people?
I have one tip. One tip alone.
Yeah.
Go onto Rob Lambert's site and look up his How to Become a Speaker.
Yeah.
And absorb it, live it, do it, take the steps. And it will set you up in the best way possible to become a speaker. I think it'll certainly get you most of the way, and then you've got to come up with the topic, and you've got to do the talk. But all of the process that Rob covers, thinking about a topic, to putting it together, to whiteboarding it, etc., or post-it noting it, as he encourages, is so important. And I really hadn't done that before until I started wanting to speak at conferences and at meetups. And when I started doing that, it was like a completely different process, an eye-opener for me. And I really, really, really encourage people, even if you've been talking a few times and you haven't had a look at it, go and have a look at it. It's like,
I'm gonna have a look at it
gold
straight
dust.
after this
It's
session,
really good.
because I'm really
Yeah.
stuck this year for my
I am very
proposals.
grateful for the shout out, Shey, especially as I bashed him a little bit earlier. But you're right, that is a
Yeah.
great resource of his, and it is really good for first timers. I would add, done is better than perfect. So
Yeah.
if you are writing these abstracts and you are putting in, I think it's more important to get eyes on your idea and get feedback than it is to try and get it perfect. Because even, well, no, like a lot of talks get rejected from a call for paper. Like the odds of getting in are slim anyway. But what you do get almost everywhere is feedback on what you've written. And that is so useful in improving the talk. And especially if you get feedback where you feel it's not actionable, then reach out to anyone that is in these communities that we're all in, the Slacks and the Spaces, or any of us, and we'll take a look at it. The other thing to realize is that we have very different reviewers. So there's people that honestly, like our Chris, and I think Hannah does the same thing. If she reviews, they take their time, they read the whole thing, they really absorb the idea. And then there's the idiots like me that'll spend about 5 minutes on your talk. And if the title's not catchy and if the first sentence doesn't hook me, I don't even read the rest of the fucking thing. And I'm very sorry. I know how much effort I put in, and other people do as well. But the reality is most reviewers will not spend that much time and attention on each talk, because typically a reviewer will take about 30 of those abstracts and get through them and review them in a very short space of time. So having hooks is useful, and Rob does talk about that as well. And keep, that is your pitch, and it does need to hook people in. So there's that at least. But done is better than perfect.
I like that one. Christiana's asking for the link, and I was secretly Googling it, but can't find it. So
Don't worry,
Shey,
I've
if
got
you
it.
okay, perfect. Because
Of course I've got it.
I actually really need this in my life.
Got it
Like
on
I
speed
said,
dial.
You're
I've
not a
been
first timer.
I know I'm not a first timer, but everybody sometimes needs a little bit of help, and I need a little bit of help this year because well, anyway.
That's not
The
the
other
talk of
thing
yours,
is
how to ask for help.
Just to riff off the all of that Sana, you said is, and Lee's put it in the talk in the chat that rejection can be tough. I think really when you're submitting to conferences, you have to understand you are going to be rejected. You have to understand that with all the effort you've put in, and you think it's the most awesome talk, and all your peers think it's the most awesome talk, you are still going to be rejected. And you can submit to 500 and you'll get rejection from 350, 400, 450, and then the rest you might get. But you've got to be prepared to be rejected, and it sucks. But it doesn't mean your talk is shit. It means they just didn't want it that time.
And it's also super important, I think, to realize that it's it's not even necessarily your talk or your ideas, and definitely not your person getting rejected. It's really just the way you wrote it down doesn't resonate with the person reviewing it, or doesn't fit
or the theme of the event
year, or doesn't fit the theme of the event. And you know what? That's
or you're or you're the fourth Dutch guy to write in on the same topic like that.
Yeah, exactly.
Be that simple.
So yeah, it's like it honestly doesn't matter if you get rejected. It's nothing personal.
Yeah.
So okay, on that note, we're gonna have to round up because I've got a proposal to write.
Because I think it's for Expo QA, wasn't it?
I was gonna say, because I just heard through the grapevine that I've got a week left for Expo QA.
I love this grapevine of yours. It's like directly online.
It's you. You're the grapevine. Okay, so everybody, a quick one before we go. Where can the good people in the audience find us? Hannah, I would tell you to go first, but I think you're in a bit of a pickle right now. Drop in whenever you can.
That's it.
I think I remember Hannah's spiel. You want me to do it for you, darling?
I can do it. It's fine. You can find me best on LinkedIn. Just search for Hanna London. You'll find me.
Again, multitasking like an absolute badass. Sanne.
You can find me on LinkedIn as well. It's under Tech Sanitized these days, which is a hashtag I absolutely love. Or, I am sort of lurking on Mastodon and on Blue Sky, but that is very inactive. So basically just hit me up on LinkedIn and be happy to have a chat.
All right, Shey.
I'm at Shey Mouse on pretty much all the socials, including Blue Sky. I'm a little bit low-key on Blue Sky at the moment for personal reasons, but yeah, come and chat. Come and find me on Instagram. Come and find me on LinkedIn. Come and chat about the topics that you've seen on here. Suggest new ones. Challenge us. There is also the 9 out of 10 testers channel on the testing Discord, and I will post a link to the invite to the Discord channel again into here, because last time we did that and a load of people joined Discord, and we are having some great discussions there. So come and chat, come and find us.
All right. And finally, me. You can find me on LinkedIn under my normal name. You can email me at verhagenveerle@gmail.com. You can find me on Blue Sky as well. Once again, I am the witch of the test. All of the other bollocks that Blue Sky puts on the end of it. A word of caution, I only use Blue Sky for shit posting and not for anything
We noticed.
So.
Isn't that what we use YouTube for as well? I mean, come on, what's the difference in content?
No, I mean not shit posting about testing or work or tech, just shit posting about whatever.
Shit posting, yeah. One more thing.
Mostly I retweet people who sell and create dildos.
See, there we go. Nice segue into promoting one more time that we are going to be live at the Agile Testing Days in November. If you happen to be there in Potsdam, so will we. Come say hi. Don't come say hi. Whatever you need at the time. But we will be there and we will love meeting you. So
much so. So much fun. Thank you, everybody. It just remains for us to say this thing